Yeah, I think the choice was between economic interests and these security concerns. And I think that what the UK is now allowing is effectively Huawei to keep the market share it already has. The market share of Huawei as it is in the UK is about 34, 35%. It will continue to be allowed to have that market share. And as the report indicated, there are certain security sensitive areas of the economy that it will not be allowed to participate in.
Yeah, let's talk about this high-risk vendor cap at 35%. And as you mentioned, Huawei already has about 34% market share in the UK. So really nothing's changing, right?
Not so much. No, I think a delay in the rollout of 5G in the UK, for example, by shutting out Huawei, would have cost the British economy tens of billions of pounds, and that's the last thing, as you said, with the UK leaving the EU later this week. It's the last thing Boris Johnson could afford. So this was the balance that was struck.
We know that the United States, in particular, the Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, has said that allowing Huawei some access may threaten Britain's sovereignty. What do you think will be the US reaction more broadly to this announcement? And what is it going to mean for those trade negotiations between, of course, the UK, between London and Washington?
Yeah, that's a very important topic. So I think two areas, security and trade. The initial reaction out of Washington was quite forceful. There were some conciliatory remarks out of the White House, but House Republicans, for example, House Republican leadership voiced very strong national security concerns and concerns about continued risk information sharing between the security agencies of the US and the UK. On the trade talks that you mentioned, these are a very high priority for Boris Johnson coming out of Brexit. He will need fast progress towards a significant trade agreement with the US. The US knows this quite well and knows that it has the better cards in those negotiations. This may be one of the things that complicates those negotiations. I have to say, there are other topics that make those negotiations complicated as it is. For example, access of the U.S. pharmaceutical industry to the NHS system is very controversial and very high on the list for the U.S. negotiators. So those negotiations are going to be an uphill battle. This is not going to help.